Good morning, students. So this is the summary lecture of chapter number 2, the nationalist movement in Indochina, class 10, subject history. So in the previous lecture, we have finished off with this chapter. Now in this particular lecture, we'll go back again and have a quick recap whatever we have studied in the entire chapter. So now in this particular lecture, we are going to cover the entire major topic that we covered in this particular chapter, but not in brief, just with few details that I will give you what are the important points, and that could help you to understand those topics in an easy way. So let's start off with this lecture now. First of all, the introduction about this particular chapter is, it is all about the state Vietnam. So particularly this chapter is revolving around only the state Vietnam. So in when we call Indochina, it was not at all related to Indians or Chinese, but their influence was there in this particular state Vietnam, and basically they were following all the rituals, religion and their tradition that the Chinese culture have been given to Vietnam. They were following that from ages, and after that Vietnam gained its formal independence in 1945. The Republic of Vietnam was formed, and the uniting together of a modern Vietnamese nation that brought the different communities together. The way colonial empires functioned and the anti-imperial movement developed. So all these things, how it all started, how it come up that Vietnam got its republic independence, how Vietnam was a democratic republic. So what was the things that could help Vietnam to come up to achieve the Republic of Vietnam as an individual? So what was the thing? So we'll study in this. First of all, there are basically 8 series. So the first series was about emerging from the shadow of China. So basically I just told you that Vietnam was one of the state which basically influenced from the Chinese culture and tradition that all the China people have been following from ages, and the same way these were also following the same culture, religion and language as well. So the modern countries of Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia, they are the 2 other states that are there in with Vietnam. So the powerful empire of China has a great impact on Vietnam because the maritime Silk Route that brought in goods and people and ideas. So basically Vietnam was one of the states that was rich with all the natural resources around him, and they brought a lot of trading to other parts of the countries as well. So it was basically they were transferring from the ships, oceans which was going through some Chinese lands and Indian oceans and other parts of the countries as well. So basically they use this maritime Silk Route to brought goods, people and ideologies together as a whole, and the hinterlands were won non-Vietnamese people such as the Khmer Cambodians lived. So basically the traders were following all the basically rituals and traditions, whatever they were going in that particular land was in the shadow of China only. Whatever China was giving them, that's the only thing they were following. So whatever it was, they were following the same kind of things that the Chinese people were following. Now there was a colonial domination and resistance. So because they were quite rich in natural resources, and after all that trading system that was happening there, they were in the eyes of many countries here. So when all of these things were coming up, they were in the eyes of many other countries as well, which included French people as well. So the colonization of Vietnam by the French brought the people of the country into conflict. So basically when they came into the eyes of French, so French basically wanted to rule there. So in basically 1858, the French troops, the ministries and army people, they thought to go to Vietnam and start developing their own kingdom there, their own kind of democratic constitutional system of French into Vietnam there. So basically their thought was that, and the most visible form of French control was military and economic domination, but the French also built a system that tried to reshape the culture of the Vietnamese. So the most visible thing that French wanted, and basically was to have basically to acquire their trading system within themselves, so that their economic domination should be there, and then after that they should French want to build a kind of a system there to try to reshape the culture of the Vietnamese people who were living there. So there were many French troops, basically French army people and military people. They landed in Vietnam in around 1858, and French Indochina was formed there. So when it was Vietnam was only Indochina before 1958, but when French troops came into Vietnam, they formed French Indochina kind of a culture there in Vietnam. So they were exploring and mapping rivers, were part of the colonial enterprise everywhere in the world. So basically the French people started exploring their trading system. They were transferring all the things to their empire, their colonial enterprises, and taking most of the profit within themselves. The famous blend poet Nguyen Dinh Chieu remonted what was happening to his country. So he wrote basically a poetry about this, and this poetry was quite strong and inspiring for the people of Vietnam there. So he wrote that I would rather face eternal darkness than see the face of traitors. I would rather see no man than encounter one man's suffering. I would rather see nothing than witness the dismembering of the country in decline. So basically in his poetry he wants to show that he don't want that French should come over us and rule their particular religion. They whatever they wanted on us. So basically he don't want that. So he can face what if their own country is lacking something, they are facing any sort of problem, he can face that, but he cannot face that another country came into our land and rule us. So in his particular poetry, he want to express his feeling of this heartfulness that he was getting through by this French troop people, that they were acquiring their particular land one by one in Vietnam. So why the French thought colonies were necessary? So why the French people thought that colonies were necessary? Because these colonies were considered essential to supply natural resources and other essential goods. So basically these French colonies people thought that Vietnam was one of the richest state in which they supply all the natural resources and other essential goods, and the area under rice cultivation went up to from 2,74,000 acres in 1873 to 1.1 million in 1930. So basically they cultivated that particular land into such a big number. They started using their own techniques and used that particular land to develop the agriculture, develop the rice cultivation and other crops as well. So basically French colonial was not bad for the agriculture sector, because they started to develop their land into rich crops, and the area under rice cultivation went up to 2,74,000 acres in 1873 to 1.1 million in 1930. So basically they have cultivated the agricultural land area into such a huge number, and Vietnam exported 2/3 of its rice production, and by 1931 had become the third largest exported of rice in the world. So basically Vietnam was exporting 2/3 of whatever they were growing of this rice production to other parts of the countries, and by 1931 they have become the third largest exported rice in the entire world there. More military garrisons and control the entire region. So after they were taking away part of each part one by one of Vietnam, or many military members were coming up more in the other part of the region as well. So they were trying to acquire the entire land of Vietnam and want to basically construct their own culture, religion and everything into the Vietnamese people. The construction of a Trans-Indo-China Trail network, a rail network that would link the northern and southern part of Vietnam and China was begun. So basically they started with another kind of trade system, which was from the rail network system that was going from the roads. Now they started to export all the material from the roads. So they started from India land as well, then from China as well. So they were taking their road lands to export their own kind of crops and all the exporting system. And Vietnam too signed, as Thailand was then called, Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh. So basically they were enriching every part of their country. They were taking each and every state into their own land. Should colonies be developed? So the French thought that they have acquired their entire land now. So they were thinking that the French people start to living, and they should develop them into some useful people, so that they can use the maximum, basically they can maximum use of the people who were living there. So Paul Burnand, an influential writer and policy maker, strongly believed that the economy of the colonies needed to be developed. So how basically they wanted that the colonies should be developed? How? Because there were several barriers to economics growth in Vietnam. So there were many barriers that were coming up in economics growth, because there were not much of educated people that were there, who are there in the cultivation sector, in the agricultural sector basically. So there were several barriers that were coming up, and the laborers worked on the basis of contracts here, and that did not specify any right of laborers but gave immense power to the employers there. So there were many rights that have been made for them, that they thought that there were not many specific rights that have been given to the laborers, but they have given immense power to the employers there. Now the second series of this chapter was that the dilemma of colonial education. So basically they wanted to improve the economic status, and there were quite barriers that were coming up in their way, because the laborers were not much educated, and they need some good educated people, so that they can come up with some good ideas and they can improve the economic status of the state. So the French colonialism was not based only on economic exploitation, but it was also driven by the idea of a civilizing mission. So they were also driven by the idea of a civilizing mission, which says that they should basically start with the education system. They should improve, they should start investing in their education system as well, so that the Vietnamese people could help them. But they don't want, they were in a dilemma that if they are educated, they should not revert back to them. They should not revert back to them in a way that they should rebel them after they get educated. So they were in a dilemma of that, so that they should educate them to which kind of level. So the colony, even if this meant to destroying local cultures, religions and traditions, because these were seen as outdated and prevented modern development. So basically the colonies that were meant of destroying the local culture, religions and traditions. So basically they started off with their own colonial system, that and they started to destroy the Vietnamese culture, religion and tradition, because they were sent and outdated and prevented modern development there. And education was seen as one way to civilize the native. So the only way that they thought to civilize them in one way or the other was the education system. And the French needed an educated local labor force but they fear that education might create problems for them. So as I told you that the French thought that they should educate this local labor force, but they fear that education might create problems for them. And these French citizens living in Vietnam, they begin fearing that they might lose their jobs as a teacher, shopkeeper, policeman to the educated Vietnamese. And the French colonial people were in the fear that if these Vietnamese people got educated, they will get the major jobs there, and they can lose their job at any point of time as a teacher, shopkeeper, policeman, because of these educated Vietnamese, if they got the particular education there. Now they were talking modern, so this would help to create a Asiatic French solidity tied to European French. So basically, they want that these Vietnamese people should follow their particular language, and in the school also they started compulsory language of French, basically English and other languages that have been followed by this European French there. So they wanted that the Vietnamese people should follow their particular language, their particular culture, and the Vietnamese were represented as primitive and backward, capable of manual labor but not intellectually reflection. Basically, they were representing their own native because they were not to a level that the French colonial people was. So they were quite backward, and they were only capable of labor works, and they were not in the form of any reflect any intellectual decisions. So they could work in the field but not rule themselves. So basically their work could be introduced that they could work in the field but not rule themselves. They were skilled copyists but not creative. So basically they can copy the other person who are there in front of them, but they can't create their own skills and they can't create their own stuff. Now there was another thing that was looking modern. So the education included classes in science, hygiene and French. These classes were helpful in the evening and had to be paid for separately, and it was not enough to learn science and Western ideas to be modern. The Vietnamese had to also look modern. So basically what they are saying here is that talking modern is not enough for these French people. They should look also modern. Say, so they basically want the Western culture should be implied to these Vietnamese people, so that they should look modern. They should be a part of the French society and higher society, and they should follow whatever Western ideas they were following. So the education was included not only in normal subjects, but they taught them science, hygiene and French. So how you should keep your hair. So basically Vietnamese people keep long hair, but because of this French culture, they want that these Vietnamese people should cut their hair into short. So there was a poem also that have been in the schools that have been assigned to them about how you should keep yourself hygiene. You should not have big hair, you should have small hair. So basically it was not enough to learn science and Western ideas to be modern. The Vietnamese, they had to look modern as well. So they started with these Western ideas that should implement to these Vietnamese people there. Then there were resistance in schools. So the teachers and students did not blindly follow the curriculum there. So there were many teachers and students, whatever the French people were giving them the curriculum, they were not following that blindly. There was open opposition. At other times there was silent resistance. So many times the teachers and students oppose whatever decisions have been made by the French colonies there, and many times they keep it silent. They don't want to rebel back, but they in their head they don't want to follow that as well. So it became difficult to control what was actually taught there. So it was becoming very difficult to them, whatever French was taughting them and whatever things that French want that these Vietnam people should follow. And Vietnamese teachers quickly modified the next and criticized what was stated. So many Vietnamese teachers that were there in the schools, they were quietly modifying and criticized that whatever was stating them, that they should tell these people that they should follow the French culture, French language, but they were modifying their own way, and they were stating their own version to the school students there. So in 1926, a major protest erupted in the Saigon Native Girls School. So in 1926, there was a major protest that happened because of the Saigon Native Girls School that took place, and that basically brought a nationalist feeling in the heart of people of Vietnam there. So what was that particular movement? So the principal also as a colon here. So basically the principal of that particular school was a colon, which means French people in the colonies, and expelled her. So basically what was the situation there was that in the front bench one Vietnamese girl was sitting there, and the last bench one French girl was sitting there. So the teacher told that Vietnam girl to sit at the back, and that the French girl should come in the front, but she didn't move. She was sitting there only, and she didn't respond to that teacher. So that the teacher got very aggressive that time, and that teacher particularly brought that student in front of the principal, and again that principal was at Colin. Then so that's why he expelled her. The government forced the school to take the students back. So there were many protests that have been happening because of this particular incident. People were protesting for that the rights of Vietnam, and the government thought that they forced also the school to take the student back because there was such a mess that was happening. And they actually said that the principal said that I will crush all Vietnamese under my feet. You wish my deportation, know well that I will leave only after I am assured Vietnamese no longer inhabited Cochinchina. So basically Cochinchina was a kind of a religion that these Vietnamese people were following. So he wanted to crush all the Vietnamese on his feet, and he wished to destroy each and every culture, religion that the Vietnamese people were following, and he wanted that he will leave only after he is sure that these Vietnamese people are not following their Chinese religion or whatever they were following from ages. So he want to change that. And Vietnamese from qualifying for white collar jobs or patriotic feelings. So basically these Vietnamese from qualifying for white collar jobs or patriotic feelings have been opening their the conviction that it was the duty of the educated to fight for the benefits of the society. So the Vietnamese were qualifying for the white collar jobs now. They got that patriotic feeling, they were educated, they know their particular rights, and the conviction that was the duty of the education to fight for the benefits of the society. So now because they were educated, they started to fight it off for their rights, for their benefits of their own society now. And in 1920s, students were forming various political parties. So now they were educated they starting off with their own political parties. They were forming their own particular parties now, and the party of Young Annan, and publishing nationalist journals such as the Annanist Student. So their party name leader was Annan, and he published many journals there such as the Annanist Student. So he was making his own journals so that they can become famous and the people should renown them. Then school thus became an important place for political and cultural battles. Now school was becoming an important place for Vietnamese people for their political and cultural battles. So they were French versus Vietnam there now, and the control of education, they tried to change the values, norms and perception of the people to make them believe in the superiority of French civilization and the inferiority of the Vietnamese. So basically what they wanted that in the control of education, they actually tried to change all the value system, norms and perception, whatever they were following, and they wanted that the French civilization should be superior and Vietnamese should be inferior. So they want that the French people should always have a high class value and the Vietnamese people should have a low class value in school. So the people were developing a master slave mentality, the larger battle against colonialism and for independence as well. So because of these things which was going on, there was a larger battle against this colonialism was formed for their own independence. Now third was hygiene, disease and everyday resistance. So basically education was not the only of everyday life in which such political battles against colonialism were fought. There was one more incident that happened that changed their ideologies, which was the Plague strikes Hanoi. So basically in this kind of strike, the least ideas about architecture skills were employed to build a new and a modern city. So basically in Hanoi was the capital of Vietnam, and they wanted to develop that particular state into a modern city. They wanted, actually hired a lot of architecture people to develop that particular city into a modern city. So the spread of disease created serious social conflicts. So because they were using the underground area as well and lot of things, so the many floods have been came because of that, and they have driven such spread of some diseases and some serious social conflicts, which was the native quarter was not provided with any modern facilities there. So there were many modern facilities that have been provided to them, but still because of the floods that have been came there, they have been overflowed with and during these heavy rains and floods overflowed into the streets there. The French city became the cause of the plague now. So because of the modern city that they were developing, there were many heavy floods areas that have been come. So now the French city became the cause of the plague there. There was a rat hunt. To stem this invasion, a rat hunt was started in 1902. The French hired Vietnamese workers and paid them for each rat they caught. So they were almost 1 lakh rat that have been spread into this particular state there, the modern city, and the French hired the Vietnamese worker and paid them for each rat they were catching. The dirty work of entering sewers found if they came together, they could negotiate a higher bounty there. So the Vietnamese people were smarter now. So they thought that if they are working into such a kind of a work, they should get them higher amount now. So they were asking for higher bounty amount. They were asking that if we will be united as a whole, we can ask them for some higher bounty there. So the French were forced to scrap the bounty program. So just because they were asking so much of money, the French people thought that they should finish this particular program there, they should scrap it, and the contradictions in their civilizing mission should abolish. The rat catchers took to such clipping the tails and realizing the cats. So basically what they wanted, that they should give them the proof that they have caught or killed the rats. So what they were doing, they were cutting the tail of the rat and they were showing them to these French people. Some people in fact began raising rats on a bounty there. Now religion and anti-colonialism. So the fourth series here is about religion and anti-colonialism. Not much in the was there in this particular series. Colonial domination was exercised by control all over areas of private and public life. The French occupied Vietnam militaries, and Vietnam's religious beliefs were a mixture of Buddhism, Confucianism and local practices as well. Nugu and Ha Tinh provinces where over 1,000 Catholics were killed. The elites in Vietnam were educated in Chinese and Confucianism. So basically, now the French people wanted that they should change their religion. They should shift their religion from Buddhism or Confucianism, whichever they were following, to their particular religion. But because they included religion between them, there were a lot of conflicts and protests that have been happening because of religion only, that they wanted to shift their religion as well. So there was many things of this colonial domination they were exercising onto them. It overhead because they started with this religion thing now. Now there was a variety of Sanritic, the different beliefs and practices seeing their essential unity rather than their differences. Traditions that combined Buddhism and belief. So basically there were a variety of things that was happening because they want to follow their own tradition and they want to combine them with Buddhism and their belief. They don't want to change their particular religion. One such movement was the Huaho. It began in 1939 and it gained great popularity in the fertile Mekong Delta area. It grew on religious ideas popular in anti-French uprisings of the 19th century, and the founder of Huaho was a man called Huang Fu. He also opposed the sale of child bribes and gambling and the use of opium. Then the French tried to suppress the movement inspired by the Hun Fu. So basically, in this particular movement, they want that they should follow their own religious ideas that was popular there, and they should tell the French people. They were all becoming an anti-French uprising in the 19th century. The founder of Huaho was a man called Huan Fu, and he also opposed the sale of, there was child marriages, they were gambling and the use of alcohol. All these things were, he wanted to oppose these things which was happening because of French people, and he tried to suppress the French tried to suppress the movement that inspired by this. So because it was such an influential movement, the French people thought that they should suppress it in one way or the other. They declared him mad and called him the Mad Bones and put him in a mental asylum. This always had a contradictory relationship with mainstream nationalism, and they could neither control or discipline the group nor support their rituals and practices. And these movements in arousing anti-imperialist sentiments not be underestimated there. Now fifth was the vision of modernization. So in order to be modern, what it necessary to regard tradition as backward and reject all earlier ideas and social practices. So basically the vision of modernization was to shift their ideology to entirely to the Western culture that the French have introduced them, and they should abolish whatever previous rituals, values and beliefs that they were following from years. So basically they started, in order to be modern, what is necessary to regard tradition as backward. So their own tradition was known as backward and rejected all earlier ideas and their social practices. The West as a symbol of development and civilization, led by Confucian scholar activists who saw their world crumbling, and educated in the Confucian tradition. Fan Boy Chow, he was such a nationalist, and he became a major figure in the anti-colonial resistance from the time he formed the Revolutionary Society in 1903 with Prince Kongde as the head. So basically to abolish that Western culture, because they don't want to follow it, there was many systems that came up with, and the main leader that held them was one of the nationalists, which was Fan Boy Chow, and he became a major figure in the anti-colonial resistance, and he formed the Revolutionary Society as well in 1903 with the Prince Kongde as the head. So Fan Boy Chow, he met the Chinese reformer Liang Shikao in Yokohama in 1905. The history of the loss of the Vietnam. So basically there was a history of the loss of the Vietnam that you have studied in your previous classes as well. So the loss of sovereignty and the serving of ties with China, ties that brought the elites of two countries within a shared culture. So basically they lost their own sovereignty and serving their ties with China at that time, and they wanted with these two countries that they are going to follow whatever these Chinese people are going to follow, all the languages, tradition and culture. And then Fan laments, a lament that was typical of reformers from within the traditional elite, the idea of resist the French with the help of country. It did not want a wholesale rejection of Western civilization, the French revolutionary ideal of liberty, but charged the French for not abiding by the ideals, and the legal and education institutions, and develop agriculture and industry. So basically what was their formal things here was that in his particular things that they want to follow. So the idea of resisting China with the help of court, he don't want that they should all wholesale reject the Western civilization, but the French revolutionary idea of liberty, but charge the French but not adapting their own major ideas. Other ways of becoming modern was by Japan and China here. So in the first decade of the 20th century, a Go East movement became popular. So they were having a close relationship with Japan as well, and the puppet empire, and re-established the Nguyen dynasty. The Japanese, as fellow Asian Japan, had modernized itself and had resisted colonization by the West. Its victory over Russia in 1907 proved its military capability, and in 1911 the long-established monarchy in China was overthrown by a popular movement under Sun Yat-sen, and a republic was set up. So basically they were being influenced into their own dynasty there, and the Japanese as follows: as the Asians, Japanese want modernized itself and they want resisted colonization by the West. So its victory over Russia in 1907 proved that they are the best in their military capabilities, and in 1911 the long established monarchy system in China that was going on because of them, that was overthrown by one of the Japanese people there, and the republic was set up. Sixth, the communist movement and Vietnamese nationalism. So a nationalist group to establish the Vietnamese Communist Party was established that time, the Indochina Communist Party, which was against all the countries who want to abolish their own religion and on all their culture. They want the Republic of Vietnam in one way or the other. So they started with their communist movement to find independence for Vietnam people. So in 1940, Japan took away Vietnam, and they have fought it out with French people, and they have won Vietnam in one way or the other, and they occupied Vietnam as their own land. And the Japanese as well as the French, the Lagu for the independence of Vietnam. So now one part was in the hand of the Japanese as well as the French of the Lagu, and they basically got independence for Vietnam there. So what scheme that they had given to Vietnam, that they got the independence, but they still have to be working under their own rituals or whatever rules they have to assign to these Vietnam people, so they have to work under them. So the Democratic Republic of Vietnam was formed, and Ho Chi Minh became the chairman there. So the new Republic of Vietnam was that the French tried to was formed, but all power was in the hand of the Japanese man, and but still the French tried to regain control by using the empire Bo Dai as their puppet. So Bo Dai was a US man, and he used that particular man as their puppet to regain the empire there. The French were defeated in 1954 as at Dinh Vu Phu, and the entire commanding staff, including a general, 16 colonels, and 1,749 officers were taken prison. The Vietnam into a battlefield bring death, destruction to its people as well as the environment. So there was a major battle that happened between the French and the Vietnamese people again. There was a great battlefield that happened. There were a lot of people that got killed, and the environment was quite destructive because of these things. A French law that permitted Christianity but outlawed Buddhism. So there was many French law that permitted Christianity there, but they outlawed it with Buddhism in their culture. There was a National Liberation Front that have been made. So this was basically fought for the unification of the country. Now they basically want to fight it out with each and every country that is coming in their way, and they want to have their own republic as a whole. They don't want any interference of any country into their land, and they want the entire rule of their own country in their own hands now. So they started with this National Liberation Front. Now the entry of the US into the war came up. So from 1965 to 72, over 3,403 US members came in Vietnam. Advanced technology, with their advanced technology, good medical supplies, casualties were high. So this phase of struggle with the US was brutal. So the big US was a very dangerous or the most advanced country in all over the world, and the face of the struggle with the US was quite brutal because the troops that arrived and occupied with heavy weapons and tanks and backed by the most powerful bombers of the times, B-52S. So this particular war was having a major loss because they were fighting out with heavy weapons here, tanks were brought in, and they backed up the most powerful bombers of all time, which was B-52S, and many were critical of the government for getting involved in war that they saw indefensible. They could be bait for university graduates, but they couldn't do that. So basically they were involving the student graduates as well to help them out into these wars. So every student who was graduating at that time, they were taking them into the army. All the young people who were there, the privileged elite, but our minorities and children were working as class families there. So there were many things that was happening, the privileges that these elite people were getting, and they were starting they were also starting with their revolution action towards the US community there, and all the children of the work class families also started with this thing. Hollywood Hollywood also made films in support of the war, such as the John Wayne's Green Beret, Francis Ford Coppola's Apollo Now, and reflected the moral confusion. And Ho Chi Minh government would start a domino effect. They underestimate the power of nationalism to move people to action. Then there was a Ho Chi Minh trial that was quite famous that time because how the Vietnamese fought against the US. So basically Vietnamese won against the US, but how they fought it out, their limited resources to great advantage. So they started off with their limited resources and they took advantage from their resources into bringing up major benefit to them. They took footpaths and roads were used to transport men and material from the north to the south. So the north Vietnam was in the side of Vietnam people, but the south was being influenced by this US, where the battle was going on. So they taking off all the help from the footpaths and roads and used to transport men and material from the north south. And the trial had support bases and hospitals along the way. The trial was outside the Vietnam in neighboring Laos, and bombed this trial, trying to disrupt the supplies. They were also rebuilding very quickly. So the US people tried to destroy their supplies. They were trying to use bombs to destroy all the supplies that they were getting, but still they were rebuilding them again whenever they were destroying them. 7 was the native and its hero. So now the role of women came up. So how women have given basically how they have contributed in this particular war. So the anti-imperialist movement in Vietnam was formed by this women as rebels. So the lower classes, but they had only limited freedom to determine their future and played no role in public life. So basically there were many lower classes women that was being stated there, and they had only limited freedom to determine their future and played no role in public life. A new image of womanhood emerged as a whole when they got started off with this nationalist movement. A woman living a forced marriage and marrying someone of her own choice. So there was a novel that emerged them as a revelation as well, where in that particular novel they showed a woman that she was living a forced marriage and marrying someone else by her own choice. Now, heroes of the past time, so there was patriots fighting to save the Vietnamese nation from the Chinese, and they committed suicide instead of surrendering to the enemy there. So there were many women heroes that were there, and they basically fighting for the Vietnamese nation from the Chinese. They committed suicide instead of surrendering to the enemy there. Women as warriors, women was known as a brave fighter as well. Some stories spoke of their incredible bravery in single-handedly killing some of the enemies there. And there was women who began to be depicted as selflessly working and fighting to save the country. Women were urged to join the struggle in large numbers, and many women responded and joined the resistance movement. So basically, there were a lot of women that came up with the this resistance movement, and they fought it off with the US people. They built 6 airships, neutralized tens of thousands of bombs, and transported thousands of kilograms of cargo there. Now, women in times of peace. So when these all wars have been ended, the war seemed that near to be an end. Women were no longer represented as warriors then, and women were introduced as workers to begin to predominate again. So when the time of peace came up, they have taken away their identity from fighter to just a normal working wife. So they were just workers. They were not any brave fighters anymore. Now, in the end of the war, the US had failed to achieve their objectives, and this was a war that has been called the first television war. This the daily news programs have been made because all the war that was happening there, previous wars that whatever war was happening, it was not telecast anywhere, but this particular war was telecast in the news programs as well. So their heroic defense of the country was also introduced. The greatest threat to peace, to national self-determination, and to international cooperation was also there. A peace settlement was signed in Paris in January in 1974, and the presidential palace in Saigon on 30 April 1974 was also unified by the Vietnam. So that's how they took their independence, and that's how Vietnam became the democratic country. So that's whole as a chapter. Now we have finished off with this chapter. Now the homework solution that I have given you in the previous lecture. Question number 1: write an evolution of the Vietnamese war against the US from the point of view of women soldier. So the answer is that the Vietnamese women played an important role in the US-Vietnam war. They were brought warriors and workers as warriors and soldiers. These Vietnamese women were constructed 6 airships, and they neutralized thousands of bombs and went on to shoot down 15 planes. There were 1.5 million Vietnamese women in the regular army there, and in the militia, the local forces and professional teams, and the women workers were also engaged as porters, nurses, and the construction workers there. So that's how they were helping the in the Vietnamese war against the US. That's how they helped these Vietnamese people. Now, question number 2: what was the role of women in the anti-imperial struggle in Vietnam? Compare this with the role of women in the nationalist struggle in India. So the women played a crucial role in the anti-imperial struggle in Vietnam, because women who rebelled against the social conventions were idolized, and rebel women of the past were likewise celebrated. Trieu Anu was a popular figure in nationalist tales, and in the 1960s, women were represented as brave soldiers and workers. They assisted in nursing wounded soldiers, constructing underground tunnels, and fighting the enemy. And interestingly, between 1965 and 1975, 70 to 80% of the youth working on the Ho Chi Minh Trail were women. Compared to this very direct and active participation of Vietnamese women in the anti-imperial struggle, Indian women did not play a very dynamic role in the nationalist struggle of India against Great Britain as well, and they followed Gandhian ideas of boycotting foreign goods and picking liquor shops, but mainstream policies was controlled by men. All through women like Sarojini Naidu, Kamala Nehru, and Kastura Gandhi were keenly involved. So basically, they have involved many Indian women as well, which was there not in the book, but they also were there to help them out and involved in their categories. So the homework for this particular lecture is some additional questions that I want to give you. So you don't have to do any of the NCERT book questions in your main notebooks. In your main notebooks, this chapter you don't have to do. You don't have to write any of the question answers in your main notebooks. This is just for your practice. And these additional question is also for your practice only, that you have to do in your rough notebook only, and you have to show me and mail me on my mail ID that you all know. So the first question is, explain 3 steps by the French to achieve their aim to exploit their natural resources from Vietnam. So you have to tell 3 steps that were taken by the French to achieve their aim to exploit the natural resources from Vietnam. Second, what were the conditions of colonial economy in Vietnam? Explain. So what were the conditions of colonial economy in Vietnam? You have to explain that. Third, explain any 5 features of Go East movement. And question number 4, why did French policy makers to educate the people of Vietnam? Explain. So these are only 4 questions, additional questions that you have to do from this chapter. Just do it in your rough notebook and show it to me. And please mail me, please regularly mail me, all of you. It's quite a request that please show me your homework on a daily basis. It is for your own good and for your own benefit only. So please just submit your homework on time, and please be regular. Please, all of you should submit your homework so that we can mark all of you present. We feel bad that we are exploring a lot of efforts and lot of things to you, that we are making these presentations, we are making these lectures for you, and you are not even watching it, you are not even attending these classes, you are not even doing your homework as well, and I am not giving you much of a homework. You just have to do few of the questions, and that you can do within 30 minutes or an hour. You just have to invest that. So you are at your home, you can do these kind of works, you can submit your homework if the pandemic is going to over one time or the other. So you have to get back to your natural normal life, and you have to go to school and study. So if you will start studying from now, it is going to help you eventually in your boards only. So start studying from now itself. So not only my subject, or the other subjects as well. You should study each and every subject with utmost sincerity. So that's my humble request to you. Please submit your homework on your time, and thank you. Just take care of your health, which is very much needed, and your family as well. Thank you so much. Take care.